Travis, do I have to wait for the meeting to officially start to say hello to Emily?
No, you can do that. Anything kind of not related to the meeting itself is A-okay.
Travis,
Yeah.
I just noticed on the top left it says live on YouTube.
Oh, okay. I'll check with Robin. Maybe it's resolved.
Yeah, we might be okay now. But anyway, Jamie, I didn't want to interrupt you from saying hello to Emily.
Yeah, I see a new face. I've seen your name around, Emily. We haven't met before, but certainly excited to hear that you've rejoined as our sustainability coordinator for the city. So that's awesome.
Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you all. I know I've met some of you before, but nice to meet you in this capacity. I'm excited to work with you.
Cool.
Okay, and I've got confirmation that we are good to go.
All right, thank you, Travis. Now, in all of that, I seem to have lost my agenda. So while I find it, we'll call the meeting to order at 4:06 p.m. And the first item on our agenda today is to approve the minutes of our last meeting. And if I could have someone to move approval of those minutes, please. Not what I wanted to do. Now I can't see. I should have probably done this differently. Hang on. I need to see everybody here, so hang on a second. Yes, so could I have someone to move approval of those minutes and someone to thank you, Andre, and someone to second? I'm looking for a hand, I'm looking for a hand. I'm gonna thank you, Jamie. Any errors, omissions, or items of concern? And if seeing none, all in favor of approval of minutes from our last meeting, if you could raise your hand. Yes, I see no no one concerned about that. There's another word for it, but I can't think of what it is right now. Okay, I'm actually in City Hall right now, so I'm a little out of my usual surroundings, and I'm down the hall and around the corner from everybody else who's in City Hall, so I'm away we go here. So the next item on the agenda is, hold on a second. Travis, can you help me, please? Because I can't see mine yet for some reason.
Yeah, I'm just taking it off. So the next item of the agenda is the Green Committee Green Week, and I believe that would be Noah who's on the line joining us today.
Okay, welcome, Noah. Could you please go ahead?
All right, thank you very much, Donna. Well, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Noah Crozier. I'm the CAO's student, summer student for the summer. And I'm here on behalf of the Civic Center's 2021 Green Committee to present our pitch for the 2021 Green Week initiative. I first got to the Civic Center about a month ago, and I was told about the Green Committee projects that students have been doing here for many years. And I accepted responsibility for organizing the project. And I've recruited a couple other of the summer students at the Civic Center to help me out with it. And they've been an amazing help so far. And I have been tasked with putting forward today's presentation, which I hope will give you insight into the plans for the week and the funding that we'll require for the purpose. Now, I do have a PowerPoint for this. Can I share my screen?
Yes, you should be able to share your screen, but if you can't, let me know and I can pull it up for you.
Okay. Share. Can everyone see?
Yeah.
We're good. All right, great. Okay. So, why fund Green Week? So, the Green Committee has been a tradition among Civic Center students for over a decade now. I was down in Central Filing a couple weeks ago, and we found Green Committee files dating back to 2008. So, this has been happening for a long time at the Civic Center. The Green Committee asks for a modest budget to help us participate in this tradition in a way that benefits the environment and the Civic Center's employees. So we have a little schedule that we've proposed here. with each day having its own sort of initiative, starting on Monday and then going through till Friday, July 30th. So the week would start out with Meatless Monday. 2013 United Nations report found that meat production, which includes shipping, growing, and processing of livestock, generated 14.5% of carbon emissions worldwide. Everyone loves eating meat. It's great, but the amount of meat that is consumed especially in wealthier countries like Canada, is having a very negative impact on the environment with regards to not only carbon emissions, but also deforestation, because a lot of space is needed to farm these animals. On top of that, a lot of the animals that are in industrial meat production live pretty unfortunate lives. They're stuffed into small cages and they're pumped full of steroids. So the Green Committee has planned the Meatless Monday initiative to promote scaling back the amount of meat people in the Civic Center might eat in their diets in support of these reasons. For our plans on how to do this is on Saturday, July 24th, which is 2 days before the actual Monday, myself and another Green Team member would go to the Algoma Farmers Market at the Roberta Bondar Pavilion at 8 a.m., right when it opens, to pick up some produce that is locally sourced from nearby farms. We'll store them at my house, and then on Monday, I'd come into work and bring them for distribution. Now, I think the PowerPoint says that we distribute the vegetables in the Civic Center lobby, but at the last minute, someone came to me with a better idea that I don't know why I didn't think of it. We're just going to go around to the offices in the Civic Center and distribute the vegetables directly to the people. And at the same time, we're going to record the names of people who brought in lunches that don't contain meat. Now, we'll do this 2 or 3 times to make sure we don't miss anyone who went home for lunch or anything. And then at the end of the day, we'll take all the names of the people who had meatless lunches and we'll enter them into an Excel spreadsheet. And we'll use the random function to select the winner of a $25 gift card to a locally sourced grocer. We're hoping this initiative will make people consider doing Meatless Monday on their own time, or even just reducing the amount of meat they consume on a day-to-day basis. Just, be slightly more mindful about that issue. And we have a Meatless Monday flyer here, which we're going to circulate internally. And moving on, we go to Thrift Tuesday. Now, clothing production generates 10% of carbon emissions and 20% of the world's wastewater. With many people, clothes are something that is bought in a very unconcerned way. With many people buying clothes they never even wear and then just throwing them out or recycling them. And it doesn't cross most of our minds, but it actually, when you do stuff like that, it has quite an environmental impact. It adds up. With Thrift Tuesday, we want to support more eco-friendly dressing habits by encouraging clothing donations and more sustainable dressing. So our plan for Thrift Tuesday is to once again go office to office, and this PowerPoint it didn't have to change in it. I apologize for that. Go office to office to collect clothing donations and record the names of people who wore a Thrifties 90s themed outfits. So we're trying to make it fun and get people to dress like it's the 1990s again. People like themed days like that. So if they did wear the outfit or if they donate clothes, we're going to take down their name. And then at the end of the day, we're going to choose the winner of a gift card. The winner of a gift card, $25 at random using Excel. Now, once the clothes are donated, this is a really good idea. I actually heard about this yesterday. So I've been working with the Every Breakfast Counts program, where we supply breakfasts to kids who might not have access to food during the summer months when they don't have access to school lunches. And one of the organizers brought to our attention that a lot of the families don't have access to clothing either, with many of the clothing donation centers being closed down due to COVID-19. She envisioned sometime in August using our clothing donation, among others, to set up a donation center for use by the kids and the families benefiting from Every Breakfast Counts in mid-August. We hope that Thrift Tuesdays, by taking clothing donations, as well as promoting more thrifty dressing habits, can promote more eco-friendly dressing among Civic Center employees and help out these needy families. And Here's a very tasteful poster I made featuring Bill Clinton playing the saxophone, Bill Gates next to Windows 95, The Rock wearing a fanny pack. Great stuff, you know? And okay, that would take us to Electronic Recycling Wednesday. So I don't have any stats for this or anything, but everyone has a kitchen drawer or something that's filled with old batteries, cords they don't use anymore, maybe like an old flip phone or iPod that doesn't have any use. And we want to do Electronic Recycling Wednesday to promote proper disposal or reuse of these items. Our plan, once again, is to go around and collect these items from offices, go around a few times, and people can, you know, give us their old batteries and electronics. And if they want, they can take, like if they find a cord they need, they can take that cord. If they find an old MP3 player and they want the old MP3 player, they can take it. We'll record the names of the people who have donated or recycled their stuff for the gift card draw at the end of the day, which will be done at random. And we'll donate the old electronics and cords that are still of use to the Salvation Army. And then we'll take the other goods that can't be used to be recycled in the environmentally friendly way. We hope that Electronic Recycle Wednesday will raise awareness of and help people dispose of their electronics in a responsible way instead of just throwing them in the regular garbage, which is not the best for the environment, to say the least. And we've got right here our Electronic Recycling Day flyer. We're just going to be circulating these internally through email. I'm hoping people don't print them out because, you know, save paper, good for the environment. I'm not sure if I mentioned this earlier, but for Thursday, we're skipping an initiative for Thursday in favor of just releasing an infomercial we're going to shoot about the St. Mary's River watershed. So there won't be an initiative on Thursday, but that will bring us to the final, well, technically not the final, technically the first initiative of the week, which is Bike to Work Week. So cars, of course, are a major cause of carbon emissions in the world. Biking, on the other hand, has no negative environmental impact and is also a very good form of exercise. We want to promote this eco-friendly and health-friendly practice through Bike to Work Week. The plan for this one is very simple. Just encourage people to bike to work. Every morning at 8 a.m. sharp, me and one other green team member will be stationed outside at the bike racks to record the names of people who have biked to work that day. Everyone who bikes to work will be given a bike lock, one per person throughout the week. Now, we'll get a $50 gift certificate to local bicycle shop Belarusian, which will be rewarded at the end of the week using our good friend, the Excel random function. With Bike to Work Week, though, each time an individual bikes to work throughout the week, their name will be entered into the draw. For example, if they bike to work 5 times throughout the week, Monday through Friday, their name will be in the draw 5 times. We wanted to give away the $50 gift card instead of the $25 gift card, which we'd be giving away for the other ones, because biking to work is a bit more of a commitment than, say, like dressing like it's the 1990s or packing a lunch without any meat in it. We are hoping that Bike to Work Week can be a motivator for Civic Center employees to maybe begin to cycle more, both as a form of transportation or as a form of exercise. It's good for you, it's good for the environment. It's a win-win. And here we have our Bike to Work Week flyer, which fully exhausted my knowledge of Microsoft Publisher. What do I got? T-shirts. The Green Committee also requests T-shirts for the team members. We simply just want plain white T-shirts with the Green Team logo printed on the front. Nothing fancy at all. And that brings us to, here's our proposed budget that we've put together. Our proposed budget for the week initiative. We'd like about $250 for the Farmers Market Day, where we'll be getting quite a few veggies to distribute throughout the Civic Center. These locally sourced veggies can be a bit more expensive than at other grocery stores, but we believe the extra cost is justified because locally sourced produce is much more sustainable and it supports local farmers. For bike locks that we'd be giving away during Bike to Work Week, we'd like $175. We've priced bike locks to be $9.99 at Canadian Tires. With tax, $175 would allow us to get 15 of them. Yes. For gift cards, we ask for $125. That would be 3 $25 gift cards and 1 $50 gift card. For T-shirts, I've been given a quote at $15 a T-shirt. So to get 10 T-shirts for the committee, that would be about $175 with tax. And we'd also like $100 petty cash fund, just for any unforeseen issues that would come up with the initiatives to solve them. Now you can't see the total because I didn't move it. Oh, I hope this works. Boom, there we go. So that would bring us to a total of $825 for the week. And of course, all purchases and receipts will be kept and documented for record reasons. And another thing, I would be very, very happy if it was wanted to put all the information about the initiatives and the spending for the initiatives and the planning into a report, which I could present at a later EDC meeting for the benefit of the future Green committees and for the people at the EDC committee, if it was wanted. So, in conclusion, we posit that the 2021 Green Team will be able to carry on the proud and beneficial Green Team tradition following this plan and schedule, which promotes sustainable eating, dressing, transportation, and disposal. This can be best achieved under the proposed budget. Please allow me to answer any questions or concerns you may have.
Thank you, Noah.
Hi, Donna.
Hello. Pretty exciting. A lot of great things that you and the team have planned. Anyone have any questions for Noah? The team is, just to clarify, the team is looking for us to approve the $825 of spending from our Green Initiative budget to be used towards these efforts the week of July 26th. So Noah, may I ask you to stop sharing your screen if you don't mind, just so it's just easier to see everybody at one time when you do that. Thank you. And looking to see if anyone has questions.
Oh, here we go.
I have a question.
Go ahead, Andre.
Okay. Hi, Noah. Hey, awesome idea. And I think it's, activities that promote leadership at City Hall and green initiatives are wonderful. So I like what I'm seeing. I'm just a suggestion on the bike locks, because, I'm pretty, from my point of view, if you gave me a $10 bike lock, I wouldn't want it because it might as well tie your bike with a string. A $10 lock is not worth it. You might as well tie a string around your bike because they can kick it and it'll open. So why don't you basically give a gift certificate for $10 to Velorution or Algoma bike or Duke of Windsor, so people can buy a good lock and get $10 off. So that as a cyclist, definitely, if you gave me a $10 lock, I say don't bother. So
okay.
Just a suggestion. Okay.
That is a very good idea. Thank you very much for that, Andre.
All right.
Thanks, Andre. Anyone else with questions?
Yeah, no, I got a question. When you're you're talking about a report or something like that, I didn't hear any mention of KPIs or how many beneficiaries this would reach, or if you guys have talked about in a hybrid return to work situation, how are you going to engage more people if they're still virtual?
Oh, well, we were going to send out like just general, so like we were going to try and do an email campaign with the flyers that I presented as well as other flyers. And we were going to make like short little, like almost commercials, keep it short and send them around and hope that would get people's attention to raise awareness about the initiatives.
Are all staff now returned to the Civic Center?
I don't believe so, but I believe in the coming weeks more will be returning to work.
Okay, so my question really is leading to, how do you continue to engage those that aren't yet back in the office? Is there some other programs or some of these initiatives that could be able to engage in a virtual platform for those that aren't back?
I suppose they could email us, or we could put something where perhaps they could like email us their meatless recipes, their thrifty outfits or stuff like that, and we could include that in our draws and whatnot. And as well, like I said, we're going to be sending out emails including these flyers and information about how to, support eco-friendly practices in their life and in the community. So we will definitely be trying to include people who aren't at the Civic Center, but you do raise a good question. Yeah, we could definitely do something more to help reach these people.
Well, your program, your sort of North Star on this, if you will, is really employee engagement, right? Into green initiatives. And so I think you might be missing a bit of the population who haven't yet returned to the office physically, but there's still lots of great opportunity here in what you've developed daily to engage those employees who aren't yet back. So as it comes to the reporting function on the end of this, as we're looking at key performance indicators or anything like that, are you looking at weighing the amount of waste you recycle, or how many people you've talked to or impacted that have actually changed their behavior? Is anything like that being tracked? Or
yeah, I was just gonna like record engagement, like how many people we spoke to, the amount of stuff people brought in, if we had any sort of like meaningful conversation. I was just gonna try and keep like a reasonably in-depth journal throughout the day's event, and then try and condense it into a report or like a memo at the end of the day.
Okay.
And I try to include as many metrics in that, because those are very helpful.
Thanks, Jamie. Pedro.
Hey, I have just two quick comments. First, nice work, Andrea. This Green Week is a good platform to build on.
Thank you.
And to strengthen as you move forward, a comment that I have is you make the premise that this is important because of tradition and because it's cheap. And I'd like you to push your thinking on that. I'm not sure it's the most compelling thing to do things because it's a tradition necessarily. It could be, but it may also not be. And because it's cheap. That's one thing, but just to push the thinking. The second one is, do you think it's a question more, do you see any conflict on your budget by, on one hand, pushing for reducing buying new clothes, which you indicated, yes, people buy a lot of new clothes and all the time, and that has an impact in carbon emissions and environment and pollution. But a big portion of your budget is for new T-shirts. So how do you reconcile those two?
Very good question, Pedro. Now, the company that we are getting the T-shirts through is a locally based company that we've done business with before, and I have been told that they have sustainable practices as part of their business model. So I believe that includes recycled material, but they work to limit their impact on the environment. So now we did look at other retailers who did like printing and who were entirely eco-friendly based, but they were based out of the United States, and we talked about it, and we actually wagered that it would be less eco-friendly to order T-shirts from them because of the the cost of shipping them across the country and like the carbon emissions that would create than it would be to support a local business, especially when that local business is engaged in more eco-friendly practices themselves.
It's good you're thinking about it. Thank you for the answer. But from my perspective, if you could somehow allocate that budget to maybe the bicycles or public system, maybe bus passes or something like that, maybe it could be a better option. I don't know, just something to think about.
All right, thank you very much, Pedro. I appreciate that.
Thanks, Pedro. Eric.
Just a quick question. I mean, our overall objective is to decide whether this is worth funding from the Green Initiatives Fund. And I mean, it's a pretty small ask and it's a pretty good initiative. So it's relatively easy to support, but I'm just wondering, how was this funded in previous years? What money are we sort of replacing from the Green Initiatives Fund? Where did it come from to fund this in previous years?
My understanding is that the previous Green Initiative came out of the EDC budget. I could be mistaken, but this is my first
Noah?
Yes.
No, I'm just going to ask either Travis or Tom, I think, would have the answer to that question.
Okay.
Yeah, Don, I can probably assist. The funding that for these initiatives in the past actually came from this same pocket of money. So when we transitioned the previous green fund that this city had internally, the 50,000 to our new Green Initiatives Fund, and transferred the recommendations to this committee, the money that it came from is the same pot of funds.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. Did you have other questions, Eric? No. Do I see anyone else with questions?
Yeah, just
Jamie?
one final thing, Donna, here. Just talking about community reach, is there any way coming out of this Green Initiatives Week with the Civic Center employees that we could share our learnings with the broader community so that there's some takeaways perhaps for them at home and things that they could do or participate in as well? Because I think that would further enhance the purposes under the Green Initiative Fund to support this.
Well, Jamie, I think that is a very good point. I think that's something that perhaps we can work in with the, if you guys recall, for the clothing donation day, we'd be giving the donated clothes back to families in the community who need them. So that sort of education aspect could be something we work into the environment when we give it back to them. Like when they're at the place selecting what they need, we can talk to them about recycling the clothes and how these came from. These are secondhand clothes that are not negatively impacting the environment anymore because they're not, or because they've been recycled, and the positive benefits of recycling clothing and whatnot. But yeah, that's something we could refine with that. I think that would be the most effective way to do a community outreach with this, would be through the aspect that already is community outreach, but I guess isn't as educational about the environmental impact of it.
Okay, thank you, Noah. Before I call for the vote, I just want to, I have one suggestion further to Jamie's question about engaging staff who aren't currently working in the building. And additionally, it could be also a way to be sharing with the broader community the Take the Pledge Challenge. So the Take the Plastic Pledge Challenge that the city is supporting in combination with Clean North, that's certainly something that we can do to engage people from outside the building. And I know that personally, I'm looking to see a lot more take up on that. And perhaps that's something, Noah, that you your group could consider including as part of your activities for the week, or just part of your general messaging. So.
Yes, certainly. The Take the Pledge program.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm sure that Emily or others would certainly be able to connect with you on that, so you'd have all the information that you need there.
Okay, excellent. Thank you very much.
Okay, so could I have someone to move a motion to approve $825 to go towards the Green Team for their week of July 26th activities? That would be Andre. Thank you, Andre. And someone to second? I'm looking for, thank you very much, Mark. And seeing no other questions, all in favor? If I could just see, yes, everybody's hand to, okay, that's great. Thank you very much, Noah, for your presentation. Good luck on your efforts that week, you and the team. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you on the behalf of the Green Committee. I really appreciate the opportunity to present here today, guys.
You're welcome. You're most welcome.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Okay. So in my tizziness before we got started, I neglected, we kind of had a brief introduction to Emily through Jamie, and a few people said hello to her, but I do want to point out, and perhaps this is more appropriate for Travis to be doing than me, but would you like to just briefly say, hi, Emily, welcome, and share that she's back working with us at the city?
Yeah, absolutely. So, you know, for those of you that don't know Emily was the champion behind the GHG reduction plan for the city here. And originally she was retained as the climate change coordinator. We had a small lapse in funding, which unfortunately resulted in a gap with Emily not being on board, which I think, you know, we're all, particularly Tom and I, we're all desperate to have her back. So fortunately, we were able to resolve that issue. And we're very excited to have Emily back now in an expanded role as our sustainability coordinator. Emily brings with her quite a wealth of knowledge on all sustainability initiatives, and particularly with respect to this plan. I think it's going to elevate the status of this committee and probably be able to be a stronger resource than Tom and myself have been. So we're excited to have her back. So thanks, Emily. And Emily, I don't know if you want to say a few words.
Thanks, Travis. Yeah, I'm thrilled to be here. It was a very fun and robust journey to be part of the development of the city's first community greenhouse gas reduction plan. And I'm excited to be part of the implementation because nobody wants to see a dusty book on a shelf, right? So thrilled to be here, and I'll speak a little bit later on about some of the next steps that we have to engage with you all to make sure that this committee is the best value to all of your time. So happy to be working with you all.
Thanks, Emily. And the other thing I didn't do was have the agenda approved. So having sure that you've read through this all at this point, could I have someone to move acceptance of the agenda and someone to second? Looking for a hand here. Thank you, Pedro. Thank you, Jamie. All in favor? That is carried. Thank you so much. All right. Next on our agenda, we have Fred, who is going to chat with us about the amazing announcement that took place last week at Algoma Steel around their electric arc furnace plans and talking more about how the impact of this plan will affect our greenhouse gas emissions and other things, and whatever Fred wants to share with us at this time. So Fred, I do know you're in transit, and I assume that's you I'm seeing on the phone here. Please go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Donna. Yes, so Algoma's been working for some time now on developing an alternative approach to the future of our organization and how we operate. And there's been two recent announcements. The first one I spoke to briefly last meeting, which was the merger with Legato and the public listing of it, which is going to be something that will help generate some revenue for funding, I guess, for in support of the project, and then the second of which was released announced this Monday, this past Monday, with the Minister Trudeau came to the site and announced some conditional funding of a total of $420 million that would be used in support of the transformation of our facility from integrated coke oven BOF steel, coke oven blast furnace BOF steel making operation towards electric arc furnace steel making operation. It's still a proposal. Obviously, the funding that's been announced is conditional, as I stated, based on a combination of greenhouse gas reductions achieved through the project, as well as for this specific project, and it's not for other purposes. It is it does have to go through the process of obtaining formal board approval, and that process is will probably be completed in September. We have some complications associated with requiring new board appointees, and then the new board members voting on the project. That said, it seems like we're moving in a very positive direction with the project. Overall, the plans are to construct two electric arc furnaces that feed into our existing steel making and hot rolling and finishing operations. There's a transition where we would be required to continue to operate our existing facilities, blast furnace and coke oven batteries, where because the grid power supply is not available to run both electric arc furnaces simultaneously. We will be providing some upgrades and replacement in kind to some of our power generating facilities in order to allow us to run that interim stage, one electric arc furnace at a time. And we would run our hot metal from our blast furnace through the EAFs to supplement that limitation of grid power. until such time that grid power does become available, we would run at a reduced capacity, and probably we would end up shutting down one of our coke oven batteries in that interim stage. Running at a reduced output from our blast furnace, maybe 50% or so, and then once grid power became available, the idea would be that we would shut down the blast furnace coke oven batteries and transition to running both electric arc furnaces at full capacity. So there's a number of stages in that process whereby we have to, with upgrading our power plant, natural gas fired power plant, we would end up increasing our need for natural gas for making that power from that part of the process. We don't want to do that, but that's the necessity in order to it's an enabling step in the transformation of our facility. That's counterset with a decrease in natural gas demand from other operations such as the blast furnace. So from a strictly natural gas perspective, which is included in the inventory from the municipality's inventory for GHG emissions, there would be an initial increase in natural gas usage, the order of about 100,000 tons of CO2. But overall, that would actually be offset. We would have year one would be about a 650,000 ton reduction in GHGs, followed by year two, which would be an additional 600,000 tons. So about 1.25 million ton reduction in that first phase, and then we would run at a steady state for the remaining period. Until grid power became available, at which time the power plant could shut down and the blast furnace and coke oven batteries would shut down, and we would convert to 100% electric arc furnace steelmaking, and we would achieve an additional 1.75 million ton reduction in GHG. So I think that's a pretty conservative estimate. So the total there by the time grid power becomes available would be around 3 million tons. My estimates are higher. I would say more like 3.4 million tons total. And of that, so I think our current GHGs from natural gas are likely around 900,000 tons. It would go up to around 1 million tons for the interim stage, and then drop down to under 400,000 tons by 2030 when grid power becomes available, 2028, 2030, whenever that does happen. So there's a net benefit to the city's inventory through this transformation of around 500,000 tons of GHG reduction. And as I said, these are fairly conservative estimates at this point in time. So I guess I'll pause there and take questions.
Great. Thanks, Fred. Who's got questions? Jamie.
Hi, Fred. Thanks for that great and exciting update. I think this is a really important project, not just for our city, but for all of Canada. So this is amazing work that you're doing over at Algoma. So could you just speak a little bit on the carbon intensity of the grid power a little bit?
Are you asking me what is the current intensity of grid power, or are you asking me about internal generation intensity?
More so on the internal generation intensity.
Okay, so grid power intensity is quite low in Ontario. We're very, very low carbon footprint on grid power. Our internal generation proposal would include, so we acquired the Brookfield's former Lake Superior Power generation facility. It's a natural gas fired facility located on our property. We acquired that a few years ago from Brookfield, and it's a combined cycle type facility. It has two turbine jet engine style turbines that run on natural gas and two boilers. And its capacity is about 110 megawatts. And I think our estimated intensity is around 460 tons of CO2 per gigawatt hour or gigawatt of electricity. So it's not the same like massive commercial scale type electricity generator that you would see in a large utility type of operation, but it is a fairly efficient power generation plant and quite clean as well. It would remit. Our estimates is that our emissions will be around 450,000 tons of CO2 from that facility during that transformational stage.
Okay. Oh, we got a thumbs up from Jamie. That's fantastic. Pedro.
Thank you, Fred, for this. This is, like Jamie said, a really important project for the country. One of the concerns that I have, depending on where the wind is blowing, as you know, there are the air quality coming out of the plant is reduced as a result of the coke oven uses, and so with odors of sulfur, particulate matter, we know that this is experienced quite frequently. And when will this technology be? We're talking about arc furnaces and reduction of carbon emissions. Will there be also new technologies to reduce particulate matter, so like Venturi scrubbers, new scrubbers, and other technologies that will become available to reduce these other pollutants that are emitted by unavoidable by steel making processes with coke ovens?
So there's a couple of components to the answer to that question. I guess to maybe provide a bit of context. There's a very substantial permitting process that we are undertaking. This has not been approved by the Ministry of Environment. There's quite a process to go through to obtain approval. And there is an expectation that there's, just because we intend on shutting down our facilities, it doesn't absolve us from our existing ongoing environmental compliance obligations and requirements for controlling air quality emissions coming from our facility. So we will continue to abide by the Ministry of Environment's rules and requirements and regulations related to air quality and in that transition phase while our existing facilities continue to operate. For the new facility, this is a brand new facility that would be constructed, and the expectation for any new construction in Ontario is that it must meet best available control technologies, and the proposal includes a state-of-the-art type facility, not only in the way it operates and its carbon intensity, but also in relation to its air quality. As we transition away from coke oven blast furnace type operation, we will change many of the contaminants that are emitted from our facility. The benzene, BAP kind of contaminants will be eliminated as a point source or fugitive sources of emissions, and there will be a set of new emission contaminants that will have to be managed and mitigated, and those really from a high level, the most concerning is dioxins and furans. There's a Canada-wide standard for dioxins and furans that must be adhered to, and the federal and provincial governments both have rules existing and under development related to those, and the intended facility is going to be designed with the best available controls in the world, and there aren't any concerns whatsoever about being able to meet the Canada-wide standard for dioxins and furans. The process is going to have 2 large bag houses with both primary and secondary hood collection systems for fume extraction from the electric arc furnace processes. That hood collection will be directed into a combustion chamber to destroy dioxins and furans, followed by a rapid cooling or quench type system to prevent the reformation in the gas stream. And there will also be an activated brominated carbon injection system to allow us to further reduce any potential dioxins and furans that may be entrained in the gas stream after that process. Although it's not likely that it will be needed, but it will be designed and built with that additional contingency measure in place. And then, of course, the bag houses would follow. There'd be 2 1.5 million cubic feet a minute bag houses. It would be the largest bag houses in Canada, and there'll be 2 of them. And their capture efficiency and filtration efficiency will be far exceeding the provincial and federal standards for new constructions of this type.
Thank you.
Thanks, Pedro. Does anyone else have questions for Fred? All right. Thank you, Fred. We appreciate that update, and we look forward to having this continued open communication that you've been sharing with our committee, and as a result, it's being shared with the community, so that we all can have a better understanding of just what the goals and targets are for Algoma, and how the work that you're going to do is going to affect our environment and affect our efforts to be net neutral by 2050. Thank you. All right, so I know that we had a little bit of a late start today, and I know that we have a couple of people at least that have a hard stop at 5. And so if there is no objection, I am going to do a couple of things here. One of them is I'm going to ask that the next item on the agenda, Emily, with regards to the Community Development Fund initiatives, I'm going to ask that we postpone that till our next meeting. That would be the first thing. The second thing would be that I want to propose, and I think what we'll do is get a poll out or something, so that I know we intended to get to a couple of other things today, and we just haven't been successful because we had that great Algoma information, and it's so much to I guess take in and understand. And I'm going to propose that we look at getting together perhaps before the end of July again, or the early part of August. I'll leave that to Robin to figure out when would be the next closest time that we could get together, so that we could pursue some of these other things that we wanted to do. And primarily what that is I'm going to give Emily a very short period of time now to discuss how she sees us taking that initial plan, the community reduction plan, and how she sees us being able to break that down into sections and really work on it, and work on the timelines, and work on the contribution of it, and so on. And also then to just quickly explain with regards to Andre's request that the official plan be viewed under climate lens, we do have a solution for that, and Emily will speak to that. So Emily, could you take it away, please?
Awesome. Thanks, Donna. I'm happy to speedily say this in the time that we have remaining. So at the next meeting, what I'll be doing is I'll be providing the committee with a kind of like a pulse check, if you will, on where we're at in the plan. When you look at the plan, it's designed 2 sections. One, a series of short, medium, and long-term goals, but there's also the top 10 priorities for year 1 that we're really going to help the city as well as the community build some of those building blocks that we need to have a good foundation to move some of these initiatives forward. So there's 7 sections in the plan, all of them with different timelines, leads, partners, as well as KPIs on how we can measure if there is success in accomplishing these tasks. As well, the year one priorities, some of those have already been thrown onto my plate already, even though it's just day 4. So I'm excited to give you all an update on that. The second piece of this will be, I'm actually going to be reaching out to each of the committee members one-on-one. I know you've already had a strategy session, but as I said in the beginning of the meeting today, I just want to touch base, give you an update on my vision for how we're going to monitor the plan as we move forward in implementation, but also see how this committee can really work to be the best value for yourselves as well as the community of Sault Ste. Marie. So it will be an ongoing agenda item, rather a standing agenda item, to update you on where we're at in the plan that was approved by council with all of these different actions. So to give you an update on where we're going. The other piece of this is I'm going to be doing the same type of outreach internally here at City Hall, because one of the pillars in the plan was municipal leadership. And so there's a lot of things that are underway, which actually is a good bridge into the next point of the climate lens piece, where we need to focus internally on municipal leadership and governance policies, things that we're doing to spruce up what we're doing from a sustainability, energy, and green standpoint. So I'll be reaching out to all of the departments, checking in, touching base. I'm already doing what I like to call fishing for retrofits. Energy efficiency is a big part of this plan. So I've already been in touch with some of our departments already on what they have in the hopper and what's planned in the future. So the update will provide you all with a good sense of where we're at, both on the corporate side and the community side of emissions. So the second point was speaking to the climate lens. So back in actually 2019, the city was working on a project with 5 other Northern Ontario municipalities to develop a climate risk assessment specific to Sault Ste. Marie. And they worked on this in partnership with the Climate Risk Institute, which is a nonprofit academic organization that focuses on climate resilience. So they created a climate risk assessment for the city of Sault Ste. Marie based on input from not only the municipality, but external stakeholders. And they've agreed to review the city's draft official plan from a climate lens as a third party. So we've been in discussions with the planning department on this already. We're still ironing that out. So that is where we're going to bring that climate perspective to the draft plan that I believe is nearing completion. Again, only day 4, so I might be off on some of my dates here. So I think that about sums it up. I know we're short on time, so if there's any questions, I will be in touch with you all.
Does anyone have questions for Emily right now? Pedro, looks like you do.
Yeah, thank you, Emily. Sorry, I'll be quick. One of the things that I was looking forward to at some point, and I know this is a time to get items also for the subsequent agendas we will have. It's now July, so it's been 8 months. So we're getting up and running with this committee, and we do have the plan. It would be, from my perspective, I would love to see as part of the agenda discussion around metrics. So in terms of how are we doing? And you were mentioning that when we look at the plan, how well are we doing? How do the actions of this committee are translating in actually tangibly reductions in carbon emissions? I mean, we've done a few things. We had the John Rhodes project, for example, that reduced it. So we should tally all of those things. So how do we develop these metrics so we keep track and we can say after 2 years, after 10 years, okay, through the actions of this committee, this is where we're at. We started here and this is how much we've reduced.
So again, I've just briefly reviewed some of the strategy sessions, and I think one of the plans is to review fairly regularly how we're doing on the plan. But I think, and again, only day 4 here, I think it would be very valuable to tally all of that up and see where we are every year. What have we accomplished? How many emissions from energy efficiency, how many emissions from transportation, et cetera. And so the plan does do a good job with how we can measure all of this. So I'm totally on the same page with you, Pedro.
Thanks, Pedro. Does anyone else have a question for Emily with regards to what she covered there before we? No, I see none. Okay, thanks, Emily. That's great. You're going to keep us on track, I can tell. All right, Travis or Tom, is there anything else that you have to cover before we depart from each other here?
Nothing further from me, Donna.
Nothing on my
Okay.
end. Thank you.
All right then. Thank you, everyone. Robin will be in touch in the next few days with regards to setting up the next meeting. And it sounds like we're all going to be hearing from Emily, and onwards and upwards we go. Thank you very much for your time today. Could I have a motion to adjourn? I need one of those. Yes, Pedro. And let me see another happy hand. Andre, thank you. Thank you.
Good
Okay,
job,
have a
Andre.
great have a great weekend, everybody. Take care. Talk to you soon.
Bye.